applications of using it as such. But I also have a GoPro camera that's going to be in a lot of wet conditions, and the GoPro is really good for waterproof, and I wanted to know if that selfie stick could be adapted to a GoPro camera.
I think it could. I don't have one here, but it's spring-loaded. So if that's wide enough to accommodate your GoPro, then yes. On the other hand, there's nothing holding it on there but spring. And if you're going to be doing something, you know, really aggressive, you might want to duct tape it to this.
Well,
but I think this is waterproof and wouldn't care.
I'm thinking the same way that you would attach a camera to a tripod.
So guess what? Guess what? You've got the GoPro waterproof case, and on the bottom is that screw hole, right? So it just screws right on.
So it would work.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I don't know what I was thinking. If the screw hole isn't the same, which it is, you could use this thing.
Okay.
But
Great, thank you.
Sure.
Gage, ask him where he got that Beatles sign.
Did you hear that?
Yes. It came out of Rock Band Beatles Edition. When my son made me go wait in line for that game at Best Buy one time, like, 15 years ago, it was an Xbox game. And it came with instruments, including drums, and that was the front piece for the drum set. There was no bass drum, but you hung that on the stand, so it looked like a... Anyway, I confiscated it immediately and put it on my wall. I don't think he ever saw it. I don't think he knows it came out of the Rock Band box. So that's where that came from. Good luck finding one. Mine's the only one I've ever seen.
I have a question.
Okay.
Can you give us your site or something so that we can look at the things that you just told us about?
Yes. Most of those things I've written about at macobserver.com. If you look for my columns at Mac Observer, 2 weeks ago and 3 weeks ago they were on camera stuff, so I think I covered everything but the selfie stick in those columns. And I'm going to do the selfie stick in next week. And that's where those will be, and there's pictures there. I do a shorter version of the column with no pictures for the Houston Chronicle, but for most people, it's behind a paywall and no pictures, so go look at the Mac Observer versions.
Okay.
And then also boblevitis.tv for the TV show episodes. Some of the stuff will show
how
up
do you
there.
spell your last name?
L-E-V as in Victor, I-T-U-S. .tv.
Have you had a chance to try the new Uniport, for want of a better thing, at MacBook?
No, the new MacBook. I'm glad you reminded me, though. I'm going to make a note because that's one of the things I want to review. And obviously, I don't rate with Apple enough for them to just send me stuff out of the blue. I have to actually make a request. So, MacBook. Yeah, I do want to see one with one port.
With one port and the new...
New keyboard. And I already touched the new keyboard and trackpad. I went to the Apple store the day they came out and typed on it and played with the trackpad. But you know what? I can't tell. Some people hate it, some people love it, and until I've typed on it for like a week, I won't know if I like it. I really couldn't tell in 5 minutes. So I'm gonna see if I can get one and review it. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It kind of worries me. I kind of like... I'm kind of worried about having one port and how it connects. I'm looking forward to your review.
Yeah, I think that the use case for that machine is probably a pretty narrow sliver of Mac users. Like I think for like students, that probably is a great idea. It's less stuff to lug around most of the time, less stuff to lose. And the size is amazing. I mean, it's so thin and light, you just want to have it no matter what. So I think if you needed the problem for me is it's totally unsuitable for what I do. I edit video, I edit audio, I record audio, and it's just not designed for that kind of heavy abuse. I also, heavy Photoshop user, big files. Not going to be the best machine for me. But I'm thinking my son, who's a college student, it would be perfect for him. If his computer died, that'd certainly be on the list of things we were looking at for him.
I love when you test.
So yeah,
When you test.
I'll let you know. I'm going to test some peripherals too, because I want to see like what the docks are like and what it's like having 7 things plugged in at once. I could show you. I'll show you behind my desk. Here, I'm going to show you how the sausage gets made. But this is behind my desk. Are we getting that?
Yep.
You see that? There we go. So that's what it looks like behind my desk. And so, as you might guess, I've got a lot of crap plugged in to my MacBook Pro, and I will try to emulate that whole setup with the new MacBook. I don't know if I can cram all those wires into one thing, but I'll try.
And the replacement of MagnaSafe has me wondering if I should buy a MacBook Pro very soon.
Well, I sure love, I bought a MacBook Pro like middle of last year, end of last year. I bought a 15-inch Retina, and it's an awesome machine. It's got an HDMI port, 2 Thunderbolts, and really, I thought about buying a Mac Pro and a cheaper laptop, and this is serving my needs pretty well. And I can edit video or audio on an airplane, and that's important to me. You know, being able to pick up and go do this kind of work anywhere is really more valuable than I knew, and so I'm glad that I did. I'm glad I went the way I did. Sometimes I wish I had a Mac Pro when I'm rendering and it says 45 minutes. It's like, oh, Mac Pro would have done that in 4 minutes, but it's also 4 times the price and 6 times the bulk.
Right. And I think Intel is
I'm going to win one. I'm going to win one. I'm entering the contest for Otherworld Computing. I'm making a TV commercial for them, and I'm going to ask you all to vote for it. Because if you vote me first, I get a Mac Pro and a 4K monitor. And those are things I really want and can't afford.
Because he's got a kid in college.
First world problems. I got first world problems, don't I?
That's right. Any other questions for Bob? No.
What was the name of that website?
OWC, Otherworld Computing.
Yeah, they're having the contest, and they've got stuff on their site about rules, which is basically make a 30-second commercial using, they've got 3 taglines, and
Yeah,
that's it.
We've
Go
ordered
for
from them. MacSales.com, I think, also works for them.
What was the
You
brand
guys
of that
froze.
protective case he had again?
Oh, you're back. You go.
Oh,
What was that?
What was the brand of that
Protective
iPhone case?
Which
Is
iPhone
that
case?
Incipio, or what was it?
The rugged waterproof one?
Yeah.
Seidio, S-E-I-D-I-O.
That's,
They make a bunch of cool products. They make this thing that goes in your CD player slot in your car to hold your iPhone, which is really cool since I never use CDs and I do use my phone in the car, and I'm always looking for a place for it to rest. You stick this thing in the slot and it's got a holder on it. Pretty good use for a slot I never use in the car. Seidio.
I guess I'd be remiss to ask you, how's Texas doing? You guys above
Well,
water now?
Austin got flooded. We, not us, our houses, we live up in the hills, so we kind of are above where it floods, but not far from us, they had dumpsters floating down the middle of a main street. And they had, you know, a few feet of water in the street. It was ugly, and there was some loss of life, but we were in such a drought, and the last 2 weeks have brought the lakes back to the highest levels they've been in 5 years. So much as I hate to say it, it was a mixed blessing. We really needed the water, and it's terrible that businesses were destroyed and houses and people. But at the same time, the greater good. We were in such a terrible drought. We have water rationing. You can't wash your car. You can't water your lawn but once a week. And I don't know that any of that's going to change, but at least there's water in the lake now. The lake was down 16 feet. It was, the restaurants on the lake had docks that were sitting out on the sand because there was no lake there. The lake had receded so much that the boat docks outside all the restaurants were just up on the sand. It was horrible. So it's been a mixed blessing. I think we're going to get a little more rain, but not too much. And I think the flooding is probably past. But yeah, Austin's pretty resilient. You know, half of downtown is in the 100-year floodplain, which I call the 10-year floodplain because it's flooded every 10 years since we've been here. You know, they kind of know it's going to happen. And they've done everything they can do to protect downtown. And obviously, that's not enough, you know? It's like, this is just going to happen. If we get that much rain in that short a period of time, downtown Austin's going to get wet.
Yep.
I don't live downtown.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming today. And we'll look forward.
Hey, my pleasure. This is great. I love doing mug meetings.
Yeah.
This is so much better travel.
We'll look for you when you're at the OWC and vote for you.
Okay, yeah, I'll look for social media to like my Twitter. I'll be pimping it on Twitter like a madman because I do want to win, and I don't care how I do it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Have a good day.
You too.
Have fun.